Welcome to Illuminating Catholics, podcast of the Diocese of Sioux City. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese. Together with Carmen Bauer of the Faith Formation Office, we will shed light upon topics of faith in the modern church. Our guests include Catholic clergy, religious sisters, and other experts in their fields to help us understand what's happening in the church today. We will explore issues, even the tough ones, and to find answers to common questions about Catholicism. Thank you for joining us for today's Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Welcome back to the Illuminating Catholics podcast. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Sioux City.
And I am Carmen Bauer, the Director of Faith Formation.
We're so grateful to all of you for listening today. And for those of you out there maybe raising a family or have grandchildren, you're just going to love today's episode. We have Jarrett and Louisa Wendt of Built on Rock Parenting on the show today. They will be presenters at a DRE and Faith Formation Staff Development Day this summer held in Storm Lake. And then they will be offering an evening parenting workshop in Spanish that's open to the public. We are so excited to have this opportunity, and we're so excited to have both of you on the podcast today. Welcome, Jarrett and Louisa.
Thank you, Dawn. We're so excited to be here.
Great.
Well, before we jump into your ministry and what you'll be doing in our diocese, can you take a few moments to introduce yourselves and share a little bit about your background and your family?
Of course, yeah. So we're Jarrett and Louisa. We live just across the border from Sioux City over in Ames. I grew up here, and my dad's from the Diocese of Sioux City, Rockwell City, so spent a lot of time there. After college, I spent some time in doing totus tuus around the diocese there too, so I'm very fond of a lot of places there, a lot of good memories. Louisa's from Colombia, and she is a Catholic thinker and leader, scholar, who came here as well, and we met and got married together.
Yeah, and then after that we started our journey to build our family, and our main calling and desire in our marriage was to be salt and light for the earth. That was our wedding reading, and we didn't know how that would take shape in our marriage or how that would be lived out until we really hit bottom in our parenting. And so we started parenting with the conception of twins, and it was beautiful. And then unexpectedly we lost them at 21 weeks gestation. We gave birth and they passed away. Joseph, our firstborn, passed away in my arms 15 minutes after birth. Jared baptized them both, so that was a beautiful gift. And then 6 days later, after Matthew lived in the NICU, we walked him to heaven. So after that, it's like, okay, Lord, how do you want us to raise this family? And then we felt the call to let's figure out what's going on in my body. And we did, and we went the NAPRO way and all these amazing things. And when we were ready to conceive again, we conceived. God blessed us with life again, and then he called it home at 12 weeks. And so again, that happened, and we gave God our daughter, Kiara. And then we're like, okay, Lord, now what? Okay, we really want a family. We're ready for this. And how do you want us to call into this? And he's like, what about adoption? And it was very clear, and it was definitely from God, because I was petrified about adoption because of just the struggles I had seen in adopted families, especially in my husband. He has 3 sisters adopted from Russia, and the
third generation here. My dad's adopted, my 3 sisters adopted,
and the challenges were really big. And so I was like, I don't know that as a mother I could face that. I was more like my weakness, not the weakness of the children, but like my own weakness. And so when God gave us that, what about adoption? For Jared and for me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally God, and we went that route, and God matched us with twins from Colombia, so we adopted from where I'm from. And when you're so eager to be the best at something, and we were just we have this big desire to be great parents. We already had been blessed with a beautiful marriage and a really strong marriage that we had very intentionally worked into. And so we were required 80 hours or 60 hours of training about attachment and about neuroscience and about routines and about all the things about parenting. And by the time we reached 80 hours, we were not matched yet. And so we're like, let's continue studying and attending all the conferences and all the things. And when we were matched and we received our kids, we were up to like 180 hours. So we were like, gosh, who prepares for parenting like this? You know, like we're just gonna be the best parents on the face of the earth. And we're just very, very proud because we knew a lot, but obviously we didn't have the practice, right? So we know how that goes. And the challenges when we received our kids were really big for a lot of reasons, but even just the one of trauma, right? Like the trauma that happens in our kids. And so, yeah, very quickly we... how do I say this? Like very quickly we met rock bottom, and we were like, none of the tools were working. None of the 160 hours were really bearing fruit. And we're like, what is going on, Lord? Like, what is happening? And in desperation, really, after years, like 2 or 3 years of this, where we felt lonely and isolated and just devastated because we had these big goals and big dreams, and we were just met with frustration and disappointment and like shame, deep shame in our hearts. And God led us to a beautiful organization called Connected Families. And Connected Families intertwined what we knew about neuroscience and also about faith. And so it was amazing because it brought to life something dear and near to our hearts and set it in, like crystallized it in a beautiful map. So Connected Families is a Christian organization, and we are very fervent Catholics. And we had looked near and far for resources within the Catholic Church that matched something like this, and we couldn't find it. And so when we found Connected Families, we're like, we just want to do more of this. We want to learn more of this. And so we became certified parent coaches, and then we felt called to create this ministry, Built on Rock Parent Coaching. So that's how Built on Rock Parent Coaching was born. Our family was transformed, and now we, in our nights, we devote ourselves to share this message with parents.
Well, I was blown away when you mentioned the workshop that you're offering now or the course that you're doing, just the numbers of people who have responded. There's an incredible need for this, it definitely seems like. Now, can you give us some examples of why a faith-based and Catholic approach in Built on Rock and your perspective and what you offer through that approach?
Yeah, that's really good. For me, as a former seminarian, as a philosopher, you know, like I love to find truth where it is, where it's to be found. I love to find Jesus all over the place, especially in science as a recovering engineer myself. And so I love the neuroscience. I love the attachment theory. I love the psychology, all these different things. And we definitely learned a lot of that along the way, and it was helpful. But I've just found over and over again that the secular always leads to self-reliance, right? It always leads to me doing it myself. And so what we've found in Connected Families, and then what we've been growing in ourselves, is this real integration of yes, the truth that we can find through research and science, with the deep revelation of the gospel. The core of it really is this: Jesus says, without me you can do nothing, right? And every time we try to rely on a system or a tool that's me doing it, and not God doing it through me, it just will eventually, I've found, lead to emptiness and burnout. So we're just super excited to have discovered, with the help of our mentors and other parent coaches at Connected Families, this beautiful way of really tying into God's grace, tying into his four messages, being transformed by those, and then overflowing into our marriage, into our kids, into our ministries. And that's the way it is. I mean, that's deep, profound Catholic truth, is that it all comes from God. It's all grace.
That's wonderful. So I take it you left the position of rock bottom.
Yes.
Since you're now out helping other parents, but I love that total honesty. Like, things are just not going great. So maybe you can share with people and they can relate and understand that they're perfectly normal. So what are some of the major concerns and issues that today's parents might encounter and when and where they might need some assistance from people like yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, so many parents like us, right? We hit problems like with bedtime, with different routines, with chores, with all kinds of stuff, and we get on Google. Maybe now it's AI, and we're looking for the answers to how do I respond as a parent in these things? What are the tools I can do to fix this? And again, it leads to so much frustration and disorientation, disconnectedness, and I think the major thing is discouragement, right? That's for us, like trying over and over again, all these tools, all this research and science, and all this stuff, and it's just discouragement.
Discouragement and not knowing like what path to follow, because especially with like the overwhelm of information out there, you have people that are like, yeah, this is the quick fix. If you do this, A plus B will lead you to C. And then you do it in your home, and then you find X, and it's like, what the heck? Like, that was not supposed to be it, And so, again, you are met with discouragement, and it's like, maybe then you start doubting yourself as a parent. Like, maybe I'm just not called to be a parent. Maybe I just messed up. Maybe I did something wrong because I have 4 kids. Maybe I should have only had 1. And then the more that we doubt ourselves, the more we let all these toxic beliefs into our hearts, we believe them, and that's what we radiate in our relationship, right? So then we start parenting from fear. And the more we parent for fear, the more we parent out of control, right? The less control we feel of ourselves, the more control we put on others. And so then it becomes exasperating for our kids and exhausting for us.
I remember a moment, we were already a couple years into learning the tools that Connected Families offers, learning the framework that they have, all this stuff. And we were just starting the process of training to be coaches. And we hit rock bottom again. We were starting another round of being coached prior to being coaches, and there's an intake form, and it was like, what's not working in your family? We have one child who's particularly challenging, and this is the child that God has given us to push us into healing and into growth over and over again. That's he's really the reason why we're here, and so praise God. So we filled out that form, what's not working, and we just started writing, honestly, like, this tool's not working, this tool's not working, this tool's not working, this, like almost all the tools, right? And I don't know what they thought when they saw our intake form. Like, wait, none of them are working, right? They're very, very wonderful mentors of ours, very seasoned veterans, and as they talk to us in our coaching, and they just let us kind of say it out loud again, all the things that we're facing and what's not working, and just empathized and gave us comfort and consolation, and said, hey, what do you think Jesus is saying to you? Like right there in that moment. And they just let that question sit there, and we just thought about it, and it's like, oh, yeah, Jesus is giving us the messages that we're supposed to be giving them. The first message is, my child, Jarrett, Louisa, you are safe with me. Your child's going crazy and doing all these things, and it's dangerous, right? But you are safe with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I can receive that, right, that changes everything. I'm not the source of safety. I can't provide safety for my child. I can't do that, right? I run out, and I've run out over and over again. But he is. And when I can receive that message from him and that grace from him, that no matter what's happening, I'm safe, then I can give that safety to him. It's Jesus in the Gospels tells us or tells the disciples, my peace I give to you. And so one of the big things that we help parents do is receive that peace. Because can I say to my child, my peace I give to you? Most of the time, it's a massive lack of peace. Right? My anxieties, I spill out upon you every day, my child. Sorry. No, if I can receive peace from Jesus, then I can give it. And then we're peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers. And our homes become full of peace. So that's a lot of what we do. That's only the first messages. There's 4 of them. But it's channeling that, receiving that from God, being transformed, and then pouring that into our kids in our marriage.
I'm so excited for you to share that here in this diocese. So, I mean, I don't want you to give away the whole ball of wax here, but can you give us a glimpse of kind of what you're going to teach the DREs and the faith formation directors at that staff development program, which will be June 25th?
Yeah, absolutely. This is so exciting. Again, as a Catholic student of philosophy and theology, what we came across as a help for our parenting, these 4 messages and all these tools, we've found is so deeply and fundamentally rooted in the gospel, that the 4 messages that we're supposed to talk to our kids, that we teach parents all the time, that we've learned, are actually the 4 messages that God all throughout the Bible is speaking to us. Right, so here's a quick story. When God comes to Mary, he sends his angel Gabriel, right? He doesn't show up in power and overwhelm her with his might. He sends an angel, right? And still an angel is terrifying, right? And so the angel says, after he says, "Hail, full of grace," he says, "Do not be afraid, Mary." Right? So that's that first message. My child, you are safe with me. And the angel goes and says, "For you have found favor with God." That's our second message. My child, you are loved no matter what. And our third message, the angel goes on to explain, like, you will bear the Son of God, right? You will give birth to the Son of God, right? The message is you're called and capable. And then the fourth message is you're responsible. And it's this, the angel Gabriel delivers the message and then waits. And there's this pregnant silence there, right? As Mary has the chance to respond. And she, of course, does, right? So my child, you are responsible. And so we see that, and I could go through all kinds of stories in Scripture, that this is a universal way that for kind of archetypal message that God speaks. And so what we're going to do on that day is really go into that and learn to receive those messages from God. If this is the way God is always speaking, it's really fruitful. It's really fruitful to tune into that and which message I'm receiving. Am I not receiving? So much anxiety today, lack of peace, right? And so first thing is just receiving those messages, and then we're going to focus in 2 ways on how to pour out from that. One is, how do we minister to parents? How do we speak those messages to the parents we serve? I work in a parish. I've been working in parishes for 14 years. So a lot of experience and stories with that, and applying those 4 messages. And then we'll talk about how do those 4 messages transform our co-working staff relationships, right? And there's a lot of fruit to be had in both of those. So I'm excited. I'm excited to share that. Yeah.
That's exciting that you have that background working in a parish and work with parents, and you do not look like you've worked anywhere for 14 years. You both look very youthful. But I just love the fact that you have that. You'll be able to relate to the DREs and faith formation directors, and you're both very calm. You're very calm. You talk about being peaceful. I'm like, yeah, you guys are. I'm sure your house is that way 100% of the time, right?
It's the school of peace.
The school of peace.
Where we're learning to be peaceful.
So as I understand it, that staff development program will be several hours through the day. So you'll really have some quality time with those staff members that partake. And then we're also super excited. We have a lot of diversity in our diocese, so we're really excited about a parenting session offered in Spanish that evening, open to all. So what would you want parents considering attending? What would you say to them to encourage them to spend a little time with you?
Yeah, I just want to welcome every parent that feels any nudge to come, to just take that leap of faith. And in a nutshell, it's like, come and be filled. As parents, we're constantly pouring out. Left and right, we have so many things on our checklist. We have so many worries, so many concerns, and we are constantly just giving our best, from the moment our eyes open to the moment we just lay in bed and touch the pillow. And rarely do we take the time to just allow somebody to fill that bucket of parenting. And so I just want to take this opportunity to fill your bucket with the Holy Spirit and with these messages. And it's an opportunity not to give you just more tools. I will give you tools, but to give you the map that will always overflow, regardless of the tools that you already have in your toolbox. So you can apply it, like Jared said, in any relationship in your life, but especially for parents, whether your child is a toddler or whether your child is a teenager or whether your child is going on to college or even adult children, even with your own parents. And so that's the beauty of what we teach, is not just like, a lot of things in parenting tend to be like very seasonal and they expire at a certain age. Like if you think about sleep training, right? You only sleep train one time and then you don't sleep train when you're 30 years old, right? You don't need to do that. Or potty training or something like that. You don't. But with this, it's like everlasting. Again, because the source is God, who is everlasting. And so at this night, I just want to share that with you so that you can always go back to that after those 2 hours with me.
I just want to say, too, because she can't speak for herself on this, but she is amazing. She did a talk in the Dominican Republic where the parents were literally on her every word for 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
She has a talent and a gift for this. And so this is not just your normal kind of parish workshop night. This is like an international level, amazing, blow the socks off kind of event. So really, if you can make time to come to this, or to encourage your people to drive to this is worth driving to.
Okay, because we're in Sioux City, and Carmen's just a little bit north of us, but I go to a parish that I think is 90% Spanish speaking, but it's not that far. I used to live in Storm Lake. It's an hour 20-minute drive. Probably faster if you drive faster than me. So Luisa will be teaching the evening session. Now, are you both doing the daytime session, or is that just Jarrett?
Just me.
Okay.
Right now we have to juggle the kids.
That's kind of what I wondered. So
parents,
yes, they are in the trenches with that. So I don't know, Carmen, if you want to have any words of encouragement for DREs to attend the daytime session and kind of put a little plug.
Oh, certainly. Yes, I am just so thrilled that we'll be able to offer such a rich day of reflection for our religious education directors around the diocese. As a DRE, you just manage so many different types of relationships, and just take some time to reflect upon and go deeper into the mystery of it. As you were talking, we have so much revelation in the Gospels, but Christ is revealing the life of the Trinity to us, and as you were talking about with our own parents, regardless of stage of life, where we've been called to work in God's kingdom. I just think these are just going to be extremely valuable tools, conversations. It will be a very safe environment for our faith formation directors because they'll be able to relate to those around them. And we always, we will be welcoming some new ones to our parishes. So to be able to bring them in to this community within such a beautiful conversation, I think will just be such a blessing to us all.
So any words of encouragement for those struggling? I know you kind of did, but if you want closing words, now's your chance.
Parents, again, are so struggling with discouragement. We still struggle with discouragement from time to time. We're not the source of grace, again. That's why we're called Built on Rock, because I am not the rock of our family. I fall short often, and I apologize often, and a little bit for Louisa, too. Every once in a while.
Oh my gosh. You're very generous, honey.
But God is the rock, right? And every time I fall short, it's a reminder to come back to Him to receive those messages. And DRE is the same way. Working in parishes is hard, and there's a lot of spiritual battle going on, and struggle, and discouragement, and so what we offer to parents is what I'm excited to offer as well for our parish staff. So it's a beautiful thing.
And then also, there's always hope. Like, regardless where you are, within the staff or within your parenting journey, God is always a God of hope and a God of light and a God of restoration and reconciliation, and who makes all things new. And so if you're finding yourself in a place where you're like, I'm just done with this, I want to just throw the towel, and I've done everything that I could possibly do, and I'm out of here. I was like, hold on, just wait to receive this message, and then allow the Spirit to move you to where hope is found.
Beautiful, thank you.
Well, and before we close out, can you remind us how would people get in touch with you if they're listening and they want more information?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have our website is builtonrock.org. There we have a free kind of download starter kit that people can get. Sometimes throughout the year we're offering a master class, and so we'll link to that from that builtonrock.org site, where we really go into those 4 messages. So that's the ways we're available.
Once you download the resources, you'll get a welcome email from us. And just so you know, like, behind Built on Rock, it's Jared and I. And so if you reply to any of like, when you download the resources, you'll get a welcome email from us. And if you were to reply to that email, it will be us replying to you. So it's very personal. It says, the email says we do a little dance in the kitchen every time somebody comes. That is very real. It is a family dance. It's like, more mommies and daddies are joining. And it is very exciting, very vulnerable for us. So we just give ourselves fully to that. And we can accompany you in many other ways. But where to start is that builtonrock.org.
And we'll put that in the show notes, so you don't have to write it down. Let's put it in the show notes so you can click on it.
Well, thank you to you both, Jared and Louisa, for joining us today, for sharing your parenting story and just kind of offering so much hope and so many words of wisdom. We encourage, obviously, our Faith Formation directors to be able to attend that day. But most of all, we also encourage parishes with Spanish-speaking parents to make sure that once more information is available, to distribute that. And for, if you're listening, to make sure to invite those around you who might be able to utilize that evening workshop in Storm Lake. It will be in the parish center. And thank you all for listening to today's Illuminating Catholics as we shine a light on Built on Rock parenting and the upcoming training for formation staff and the public session in Spanish for the parents. New episodes drop each Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts, the Diocese of Sioux City YouTube channel, or at lumenmedia.org.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Follow us for more episodes on topics of the Catholic faith. For more diocesan news, visit lumenmedia.org.